If I had to rebuild my multiple six-figure bridal hair business for today's bride, here's the 3 steps I would take like ASAP. If you're new here, hey, hi, hello, I'm Marissa Grace. I grew my bridal hair business to multiple 6 figures, generating over $500,000 in just 3 years doing only bridal hair without a team doing weddings without me. I know. So here's exactly how I would rebuild, restart for today's bride in 2026 and beyond. Now, we're gonna assume a few things before I get into it. So we're gonna assume we're not starting from ground zero. You're not coming out of cosmetology school. We're assuming you already have like an intermediate base knowledge skill of bridal hair, because going into the years beyond, that is the bare minimum. Meaning if a bride shows you a photo, she's gonna get that look. So we're assuming that your hair skill is here versus here, which is beginner level when I was like just starting out. And we're gonna assume that my main issues in my bridal business for today's bride is that my calendar is wide open, brides are ghosting me, they're slower to book, and I got no wedding inquiries coming in. So step number 1 is gonna be getting brides to know I exist. Crazy, I know. My first goal would be to get visibility, because the more brides that know you exist, the more wedding inquiries you're gonna get, the more ability you have to build even more demand. If I threw 1,000 wedding inquiries your way, I bet you would probably book some of those, right? It's definitely a problem you would wanna have. To get brides to know I exist, here's the actions I'm gonna take. First, we're gonna assume that I don't really have any content. So what I'm gonna do to start rebuilding my multiple 6-figure bridal hair business is have weekly content days. So every single week, I'm gonna either rent out a studio, I'm gonna do it inside of my bridal studio. If you don't have one, I recommend renting one out. You can do so on Peerspace. And I wanna be doing this weekly so I can practice and get my reps in with creating content, such as filming, editing reels, working with models, taking photos of my work, and really work on that skill. And from each content day I have, I'm gonna make sure that I get around 15 to 30 pieces of content from every single one. Next, I'm gonna take that content, I'm gonna edit it, and I'm gonna draft it up in my Instagram. I'm gonna post daily on my feed. Then over on the Edits app, I'm actually gonna duplicate it and I'm gonna upload it to Instagram again. So I'm gonna post it as a trial reel as well as on my feed. Posting trial reels, you're gonna get more visible to non-followers. So when I post on my feed, I'm gonna get visible to followers and some non-followers, but then when I post a trial reel, I'm gonna get visible to people who don't know about me. This is gonna be critical when you're growing your Instagram account, when you want more brides to know you exist. So yes, I'm gonna post twice. Literally the same thing. I've done this multiple times with my Instagram account, and if a reel is doing really, really well, definitely repost it as a trial reel. Same thing. Copy and paste the caption. Literally rinse and repeat. Now, when it comes to my captions, I'm gonna make sure that I have a dialed in caption that's talking about my bride's specific problem. Making sure to add in SEO for the signature looks that I do, that I wanna attract in for the venues that I specifically wanna work at in my area. That way, Instagram can start picking up that SEO and pushing me out and showing me to more brides who are getting married at that venue and who are looking for those specific looks. After I post, I'm gonna go and comment on around 10 to 15 local wedding vendors. I'm gonna find venues, photographers, makeup artists, go on their posts and comment on them. So if a bride is over there and she's looking for other vendors, she's gonna see my post come up. This is gonna create curiosity, and I've actually booked a lot of brides this way. Since I was a bridal hairstylist, I would naturally just go and comment on my makeup artist friends' work. You know, community over competition here. And one time I saw my friend, she posted a bride and she was so gorgeous, so I made a comment about her skin. Then like the next day, she wound up inquiring with me and then she wound up booking with me. She comes in for a trial and I was like, hey, how did you find out about me? Like, where did you find me from? And she goes, oh, I saw that you commented on Carly's post when she posted my makeup and she's doing my wedding makeup. And I was like, oh, bet. It literally can be that simple. This is what I like to call digital online networking. It's way better than a styled shoot. You see faster results and it literally takes like 10 minutes. Something you're probably already doing, just do a little more strategic. So after I've had my content day, I'm posting the content, I'm on my feed, I'm posting trial reels to get more visible to non-followers, and I'm engaging with local vendors. Next, I'm gonna create stories that sell my services, because I have people who are non-followers that are finding my page, but now I need to let them know about my offers. And the biggest difference from when I was seeing 200 yearly wedding inquiries to then I got 900 plus in 1 year was I started asking brides to inquire with me. The simplest thing, but it really, really worked, because you want to make sure all those new brides that are finding you are binging more of your content, they're going over to your stories, and they're inquiring with you. And I would set myself a weekly goal, so that way I'm not just like throwing out a number in space. So I would set a weekly goal to get around like 15 to 20 weekly wedding inquiries. Now, once I have more brides knowing that I exist, step number 2 is going to be creating my dying to book with you offer. I want to have an offer so good that when they work with me, they're telling all of their bridesmaids like, yo, you gotta hire Marissa. I can't believe I got this girl before she blows up. Meaning in the beginning, what I would want to do is I don't want to price myself to profit yet. And this is actually something I did when I started out my bridal hair business. I'd set a goal to book 50% of weddings at a lower end beginner rate. Once I booked 50% of my year at those rates, I would raise them. For example, if I had a wedding goal of 50 weddings, I would book 25 at a lower end rate. Then I would get the social proof. I would build the demand. I would get my name out there. All of our bridal party knows my name. I'm building content on social media from working with these brides. I'm getting testimonials, further building that trust for future brides. And then the next 25 weddings to fill my booking year, I would increase my rates for those. And it'll be a lot easier for me to book out at an increased rate with all of the social proof that I get from the other weddings I worked. But the number one thing that I see bridal pros going wrong with when they increase their rates is they don't get anybody excited about it. They're like, okay, I'm going to increase my rates. And then you just kind of like silently do it on the back end. You want to have a price increase strategy. So that way, when you're raising your rates, your brides are actually getting excited for it. And they're like, I want to book her now. And that's actually something I dive deeper into in my program, Bridal Boss Academy. I walk you through exactly how to price yourself to profit, a price increase strategy so you can build demand for your services, the 3 factors to have before you raise your rates so you don't get ghosted, and how to package up your offering so it's a super clear dying to book with you offer, leaving no room for confusion, and your brides are signing your highest paid packages within minutes. Because if a bride is confused, she's going to opt out and ghost you fast. And it's really likely that if you're in the phase of brides are slower to book, they're ghosting you more, there's a miscommunication with what you're offering and the transformation that she's getting. So either you have an issue with your ideal bride, she doesn't know exactly what look she's going to be getting when she sits in your chair, or she goes and you send her over like a PDF with 100 different services she has to pick, mix and match. You think it's making it easier for her, but it's actually leading to analysis paralysis. So after I've had my content day, then I build my dying to book offer using a price strategy. Step number 3 is I want to get raving reviews. We are currently in a trust recession, my love, meaning less and less brides expect the hairstyle or the makeup look that they want when they're sitting in our chair because they've been burned by beginner wedding teams who are just pushing out anything. And I know you've noticed it when your clients are slower to book with you, or you felt this disconnect when they sit in your chair and they're like, I was just in a wedding party and my hair didn't look good at all. I had to redo it in the bathroom, or had to touch up my makeup later because it didn't last. Having raving reviews is more important than ever. Again, I am rebuilding. So what I would want to do is go above and beyond for my brides for free. Yeah, you heard that right. One thing I used to do back in the day when I was actually building my book back up, I would stay back for 1 to 2 hours while my bride was getting dressed, and I would put in her veil and I would do touch-ups for 1 to 2 hours completely free. Now, this got me 2 amazing things. I got really great content of them in their dress, and they left me the best reviews because they had an amazing experience. They were like, wow, the makeup artist ran out of the room, but you hung out with me and made sure that my hair was perfect. Yeah, it's just something I did. And if you're building your book up, why not hang back later? You can get really, really great reviews, and that's going to get even more brides wanting to work with you. Now, you might be saying to yourself, but Marissa, nobody ever responds to my emails when I ask them for reviews. Yeah, because she's on her honeymoon. So what you want to do instead is make sure that within like 24 to 48 hours of her wedding, you are sending her a text before she hops off to her honeymoon, wherever she's going, and the wedding bliss fades. They're still on the adrenaline high from their wedding, and this is how I got the absolute best reviews that booked me so many more brides. Okay, so I know I was going to give you 3 steps, and we've already got more brides to know you exist, built your dying to book offer, we got you raving reviews, but I have 2 more that I just really wanted to share with you. you. So step number 4, if I was rebuilding my multiple six-figure bridal hair business, is going to be build insane demand, aka having around 5 times the amount of wedding inquiries that you could ever take on yourself. And chances are you likely already have some sort of demand, but you're not leveraging it the way that you should. So once I got those raving reviews, once I was booking out 50% of my year, I'd immediately go and post stories about that, talking about brides booking with me to build the bandwagon effect in sales psychology. This is a psychological phenomenon where people will adapt behaviors, beliefs, or trends just because other people are doing it. They're driven by a desire to fit in. Us as humans, we want to fit in. If you're an elder millennial like me, think about it when the emo days were cool. I was an emo girl myself. Do you remember when everybody had studded belts? We were all wearing our hair with the side part. We had the jelly bracelets up our arms. That was a trend. Everybody was doing it. The bandwagon effect. We're going to gain social approval following the perceived majority, which is going to override personal judgment. So we're literally just doing it because everybody else is. And this herd mentality boosts popularity, boosts trends. We see it all the time. Just like back during COVID when everybody was doing the same TikTok dance, or when a TikTok dance just goes viral and everybody's doing the same thing. So to relate this to your wedding bookings, if I booked 50 weddings and that was my goal for the year, I need to have around 250 conversations to book those weddings. On average, I'm going to convert around 20%, meaning I get 250 conversations, brides inquiring with me, and I book 20% of them, which is going to equal 50 weddings. That's an average of around 20 inquiries per month and around 5 per week. Now, with demand, you would want to 2x or 5x that amount. So instead of 20 monthly inquiries, you would want to double that. So it's around 50 monthly inquiries, more than I could ever handle, right? Because I only take 1 wedding per day. So then you leverage that and you constantly talk about how you have tons of brides inquiring, but you only take 1 wedding per day. This increases the demand perception for you in your bride's mind. And it's one of the biggest levers that big businesses will use in order to sell out their launches. And once I have that and I have the demand and it's flowing in, what I then would want to do is step number 5, act like a full-time content creator. Now, I know I probably almost lost you there. Hang with me, stick with me, okay?
Marissa, I just want to do hair. I just want to do makeup. I didn't sign up to be a content creator.
Okay, good luck in 2026 and beyond getting brides to know you exist, because she lives on social media. Before I built my first 6-figure year, I looked at content as a hassle. I looked at it as, I just want to do makeup. I want to show up and do my job. I don't want to inconvenience the bride. I didn't think like a content creator. And that reflected because I never showed up and I never posted on social media. And what do you know? No brides knew I existed. And when I showed up with that mindset and when I barely posted on social media, I didn't realize that I was attracting in a certain type of bride because I was doing the absolute bare minimum and I was getting majority of my inquiries from those sites like Wedding Wire, The Knot, maybe you even use Zola. They're brides who are all price shopping. They're not going to hire you for you. I attracted in budget brides who were trying to haggle over my prices, ones who never trusted in me, so they constantly wanted to do trials first. Not that that's a bad thing, but to do it all the time. I was working at venues I didn't like, setting up on an air conditioner, and I was constantly feeling resentful of the long drives because I was taking any bride just to get work. And I stayed in this constant loop of I didn't sign up to be a content creator, yet not showing up and not posting on social media led me to have the brides that I had in my inbox. Versus when I actually lost everything and I didn't have any wedding bookings and I really started from ground zero pretty much, I had nothing to lose. So I made being a content creator my full-time job. That's why I started this out with step number 1, having content days. But now I really want you to step into that content creator mindset, because here's what happened for me. Once I showed up in that energy, I attracted in brides who were dying to work with me. They were talking about my dog. They were really tapped into me. It wasn't, I could hire anybody for bridal hair. It was, no, I want Marissa for this specific look. And I had so many inquiries coming in that I could be picky with the weddings that I wanted to work at. Meaning I didn't need to take a wedding that was 4 hours one way and overnight because I knew I had 10 other brides in line waiting for me. So there was no more saying yes to every bride out of fear that I'm never going to work ever again or I'm never going to get another inquiry. And by stepping into this mindset of filming my clients when I was working, looking at everything as content, getting out of my own way, I was able to show up on social media. And then in the year that I hit 6 figures, I posted every single day for 7 months straight. And I actually continued that for like a year after because it became so habitual. So if you really want want to learn content creation, just start doing it. I have a bunch of other videos on my channel where you can create 13 reels from one wedding. And when I did this, that's how I was able to go from 200 yearly inquiries to 900 in a single year. But the thing is, it's gonna suck for a long time in the beginning before you build your reps. Same thing when you were starting out with bridal hair or bridal makeup. You likely weren't the best at it at first. You had to get your reps in, and the only way you can do that is by stepping into that role. And it's one of those things that's gonna compound over time. At first, your views might feel flat, it might feel really hard. You're gonna post and stay consistent, and then you're just gonna notice it start to go up. So if you're trying to scale your bridal business to 6 figures, the 5 steps you're gonna wanna focus on, assuming that you're at that intermediate hair or skill level. Step 1, get more brides to know you exist. Step 2, create your dying to book offer. Step 3, get raving reviews. Step 4, build insane demand. And step 5, act like a full-time content creator. And stop gatekeeping your talent inside your camera roll. Your bride is waiting for you to show up. I love you so much. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.